Hello and good evening. You're watching Express News with me, Nancy Kohli. Let's begin with the top stories. In the first Pragati meeting of the new term, Prime Minister Modi strongly reiterated commitment for housing for all by 2022. The Prime Minister reviewed the progress of flagship schemes of Ayushman Bharat and Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan. While sharing 30th interaction through Pragati, the ICT-based multi-modal platform for proactive governance and timely implementation, Prime Minister Modi called upon states to put in maximum efforts towards water conservation, especially during the current monsoon season. The Lok Sabha passes the Interstate River Water Disputes Amendment Bill 2019. While replying to a question on the Motor Vehicles Amendment Bill 2019 in the Rajya Sabha today, the Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari told the House that this bill will help in issuing driving license through online. He added that this bill will also reduce corruption rate in the RTOs. Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari also said that the amendments in the bill will help transform the transport system entirely. The Cabinet approves the Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Second Amendment Bill 2019. It would pave the way of extending the benefit of reservation of up to 10% for the economically weaker sections in educational institutions and public employment, along with existing reservations. Cabinet accords approval to introduction of Chit Funds Amendment Bill 2019 in Parliament in order to fulfill the objectives of reducing the regulatory or compliance burden of the registered chit funds industry as well as protecting the interest of the chit subscribers. The Cabinet also approves the MOU between ISRO and Bolivian Space Agency on cooperation in the exploration and the uses of outer space for peaceful purposes. Cabinet also approves ISRO Technical Liaison Unit at Moscow. The unit will collaborate with the space agencies and industries in Russia and the neighboring countries for mutually synergetic outcomes. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said that in 2016 the number of judges has been increased from 30 to 33 in the Supreme Court, a 10% rise, and in the High Court in 2016. The Modi government increased the number of judges posts from 906 to 1079. The Supreme Court today took the suo motu cognizance of Unnao rape case. The CJI has sought a report from the Secretary General on delay in placing this letter before the CJI. The CJI bench will tomorrow hear the case along with the report from the registry of the Apex Court. CBI registers case against suspended BJP MLA Kuldeep Singh Sengar, including 10 others accused in the Unnao rape survivors accident case. The CBI has also registered a case against 20 unknown persons under criminal conspiracy, murder, attempted murder and criminal intimidation. The condition of Unnao rape survivor and her lawyer remains critical. Both have been put on a life support system in Lucknow's King George Medical College. The body of Cafe Coffee Day founder Vijay Siddharth, who went missing, was found on Wednesday in the Netravati River in Dakshina Kannada district of Karnataka after 36 hours of intense search. Vijay Siddharth reportedly had been witnessing rising deaths, especially in the last few years. In a letter purportedly signed by him to the board, he claimed that he was being pressured by one of the private equity partners, forcing him to buy back the shares, a transaction he had partially completed 6 months back by borrowing a large sum of money from a friend. The Income Tax Department has denied charges of harassment during their probe against the Cafe Coffee Day promoter Vijay Siddharth. Instead, the department says Siddharth's tax history is problematic. In Karnataka, Vishweshwar Hegde Kageri was elected as the Speaker of the State Assembly. Tributes were paid to Martyr Nayak Krishan Lal in the ceremonial wreath-laying ceremony held at Aknur. Major General R. Diwan, GOC, Crossroads Division and laid wreath at all the ranks of Crossroads Division paid tributes to the martyr. Enforcement Directorate interrogated former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah in connection with the multi-crore Jammu and Kashmir Cricket Association scam. In Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistani troops on Wednesday opened fire and shelled mortars along the LOC in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri district. The Indian troops gave a befitting reply, resulting in the heavy damage to Pakistani army force and casualties to the Pakistani soldiers. 2 terrorists, including a self-styled commander of Jaish-e-Mohammed, Fayaz Panzu, were killed in an encounter with the security forces in Anantnag on Tuesday. Supreme Court has asked the centre to consider bringing a law to regulate mobile app-based taxi services like Ola and Uber for safety and security of women passengers. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar launched e-projects of Publications Division, mobile app Digital BPD, e-version of Rozgar Samachar and e-book Satyagrahi Geeta were also launched. And speaking on the occasion, the minister emphasized upon the need for developing reading habits. He also suggested that there is a need to have the links of Doordarshan and All India Radio on the app along with other government departments. The SDRF rescued 49 people from a resort in Chhattisgarh, Jambalpur, who were trapped in due to heavy rain from the past 3 days. The joint rescue operation was launched by Chhattisgarh Police and the SDRF. Moradabad's head post office has started a special counter for the sale of Ganga Jal on the occasion of Shiv Triyodashi. The sale of Ganga Jal in the post offices across Uttar Pradesh has begun. The roof of a building that houses the Solapur branch of Bank of Maharashtra collapsed today. Several people are still fear trapped. 8 people have so far been rescued. The rescue operation is still underway. Former Congress Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh and his wife Amita Singh has joined the Bharatiya Janata Party in the presence of the working president JP Nadda at the BJP headquarters in New Delhi. Benchmark indices snapped 2 days losing streak and ended higher on 31st July. At close, the Sensex was up 83 points at 37,481. And the Nifty was up 28 points at 11,113. About 1,134 shares have advanced, 1,333 shares declined, and 137 shares are unchanged. The gold prices dropped 100 rupees to 35,780 rupees per 10 gram in the bullion market on Wednesday due to lackluster demand from jewelers, even as the precious metal remained flat overseas. That's according to the All India Sarafa Association. Silver, however, gained 70 rupees to 42,120 rupees per kilogram on increased offtake by industrial units and coin makers. Crude oil futures rose 1% to 4,027 rupees per barrel on Wednesday as speculators raised their bets on hardening oil prices overseas. The Reserve Bank of India has imposed a fine of about 26 lakh rupees on MobiKwik Systems and HipBar Private Limited providers for non-compliance of regulatory guidelines. The RBI has further liberalized the norms related to external commercial borrowing by relaxing end-use restrictions with regard to working capital, general corporate purpose and repayment of rupee loans after receiving feedback from the stakeholders. Rajiv Kumar, the Secretary in the Department of Financial Services, has been named as the new Finance Secretary to take the place of Subhash Chandra Garg. The Controller and Auditor General of India said that there is a 12.1% increase in the corporate assessees and the direct taxes have increased by 18% to 1.5 lakh crore rupees in the year 2017-18. Under Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which is aimed at providing employable skills to the youth, 72 lakh people have been trained and 15 lakh have got placed so far. The Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited Chief General Manager AP Rao has formally launched its 4G services in the Vijayawada city. Uber Chief Executive and Marketing Team boss have announced to cut 400 jobs from its marketing team of 1,200 workers to reduce the cost and improve efficiency. China's Huawei Technology said revenue in the first half of the year grew 23.2%. That's faster than a year ago, despite an intense US campaign against it that ultimately became a trade ban from mid-May. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on the next move in Brexit talks was up to European Union, adding that it did not want to leave the bloc without a deal, but had to prepare for that outcome just in case. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson arrives in Northern Ireland for the first time as the Prime Minister. He promised to do everything in his power to help efforts to restore the power-sharing government. US President Donald Trump said that Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden would limp across the line to win the Democratic nomination to challenge Trump in 2020. Opinion polls also place Biden as the current frontrunner. Democratic presidential hopeful Elizabeth Warren said if elected to the White House, she would use the leverage of the U.S. to raise labor and environmental standards via global trade agreements. The U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer and Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin met the Chinese Vice Premier as the trade talks between the two nations concluded in Shanghai. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has said that there was no impact on Japan's security following North Korea's latest launch of short-range ballistic missiles. He also added that Japan will continue to work with the US and its allies over the situation in the region. A South Korean parliamentary delegation met the Japanese politicians in Tokyo, hoping to ease increasing trade tensions between the two countries. The relations between Japan and South Korea have strained, with both the sides threatening trade actions which could disrupt the global supply of semiconductors. North Korea has fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles off its east coast, South Korea's military has claimed. The 2 missiles were launched from the Wonsan area early today, the second such launch in a week. Japan has offered to mediate between Bangladesh and Myanmar for early repatriation of the Rohingyas, said Bangladesh Foreign Minister after meeting his Japanese counterpart in Dhaka. Both the countries agree that Myanmar needs to take necessary steps for creating a conducive environment for ensuring safe, voluntary and dignified return of the Rohingyas. Foreign ministers of the ASEAN nations have attended an opening ceremony and joined a plenary session to kickstart the 52nd ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. Thailand is hosting the 52nd ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting this year. The foreign ministers from Southeast ASEAN also met Thai Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha. The South China Sea, nuclear talks and security threats are expected to top the agenda for this year's Regional ASEAN Forum and related meetings. The US, Japan and South Korea will also be holding a trilateral meeting on the stability in the Korean Peninsula. United Nations spokesperson said that Russian police appear to have used excessive force against protesters, injuring more than 70 and may have violated their basic right to freedom of expression. A Russian court has rejected jailed opposition leader Alexei Navalny's appeal for early release on health grounds after he was suddenly taken ill in the custody at the weekend and rushed to hospital to be treated. Navalny was jailed for 30 days last week for urging people to take part in an unauthorized opposition protest. In Afghanistan, at least 34 people were killed in a bomb blast on Herat-Kandahar highway this morning. The blast came a day after 3 children were killed and 23 others were injured in a suicide attack at a busy market in the Kandahar province. No group has claimed responsibility for the incident so far. At least 5 people, including 2 cops, were killed and 38 others injured in a powerful blast targeting a police vehicle in Quetta, Balochistan province. The blast took place close to a police vehicle. No one claimed the responsibility immediately for the deadly attack. In Hong Kong, several hundred protesters mobilized in the streets outside a police station after 44 people were arrested on the riot charges stemming from a demonstration. The Hong Kong police said in a statement that the protesters set up roadblocks, broke fences, damaged street signs and attacked the police officers with bricks and iron rods. A group of some 80 migrants seeking asylum in the US have opted to return to their home countries after waiting for long at a shelter in the Mexican border city of Juarez. The migrants from Honduras, Guatemala and El Salvador had been sent back to Mexico's Juarez opposite El Paso, Texas after requesting asylum in the US under US Migration Protection Protocol's policy. The wife of Dubai ruler Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Jordanian Princess Haya, has applied for a forced marriage protection order in an English court in relation to one of her 2 children. Kidambi Srikanth enters pre-quarter-final of the Thailand Open badminton tournament. In round 1, Kidambi defeated Ren Pengbo of China 21-13, 17-21, 21-19 in 68 minutes. In another men's singles, Parupalli Kashyap moved to quarterfinals of the Thailand Open. Kashyap defeated Misha Zilberman of Israel 18-21, 21-8, 21-14 in 51 minutes. Now Kashyap will take on world number 3 Chao Tien-Chen. In the women's singles, Saina Nehwal booked her berth in pre-quarterfinals. In the opening round, Saina defeated Chai Wan 21-17, 21-19. In another men's singles, Sai Praneeth defeated Wang Charon of Thailand with 17-21, 21-17, 21-15. Sai Praneeth has jumped 4 places to be in the top 20 players in the latest World Badminton rankings. Praneeth is now world number 20 men's singles badminton player. Among other Indian men's singles shuttlers, Kidambi Srikanth has maintained his 10th position while Sameer Verma retains his 13th position. Star Indian shuttlers PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal were static at 5th and 8th spots respectively in the recently released Badminton World Federation rankings, while Mugdha Agre and Rituparna Das climbed out 6th and 1 spot respectively to be placed at 62nd and 65th positions. India's top-ranked tennis player Prajnesh Guneswaran put up a fine display to upset the world number 67 John Millman and claim a 6-4, 1-6, 6-2 win at the Los Cabos Open in Mexico on Tuesday. Indian cricketer Prithvi Shaw has been handed a backdated suspension for a doping violation. According to the BCCI, his suspension will run till 15th November this year. Shaw had unintentionally ingested a prohibited substance which can be commonly found in cough syrups. Olympic medalist wrestler Sakshi Malik is eyeing on the Tokyo Olympics to be held in 2020. She says she's performed better than the last time and she has to bring gold for the country. England's quest to win back the honour from arch-rivals Australia begins on Thursday when the 2019 Ashes series gets underway at Edgbaston. Australia thumped England 4-0 in the last series but will need to reverse the recent run of results to secure another victory this summer, having not won on English soil in almost 2 decades. The International Cricket Council's elite panel of umpires will not have an Indian representation after Sundaram Ravi got the axe, with Michael Gove of England and Joel Wilson of the West Indies being the new entrants for the 2019-20 season. Former manager Lalchand Rajput has thrown his hat in the ring for the job of the Indian cricket team's head coach. Rajput is currently the coach of Zimbabwe team. The current coach Ravi Shastri has already got a 45-day extension along with other members of the support staff to India's upcoming tour of the West Indies. Lionel Scaloni has signed a contract extension with Argentina to run until the end of the qualifying period for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. He will also be in charge for next year's Copa America, hosted jointly by Argentina and Colombia. The Goa government has expressed concern over the falling standard of football in the coastal state that was once known for producing national-level players. Despite our efforts, the quality of the sport is not rising, says Goa Sports Minister Manohar Ajgaonkar. Francis Joe-Wilfried Tsonga defeated his first top 10 rival in nearly 2 years, ousting Russian second seed Karen Khachanov 6-4, 2-6, 7-5 at the ATP Washington Open. He ranked 70th in the world after outlasting 8th ranked Khachanov in 1 hour and 58 minutes to reach the third round of the US Open hardcourt tune-up event. The Indian tennis players are excited and available to travel to Pakistan for the upcoming Davis Cup tie but want to be assured that all the security measures are in place before they reach Islamabad. No Indian Davis Cup squad has travelled to Pakistan since March 1964. Real Madrid's disastrous pre-season continued on Tuesday as they lost 1-0 to Tottenham in Munich. Tottenham captain Harry Kane scored the only goal of the match against Real Madrid. He will now face either host Bayern Munich or Fenerbahce in today's final, with Madrid also in action in the third-fourth place match at the Allianz Arena. The India Under-19 team suffered its second consecutive defeat in the Tri-Nation 50-over tournament, losing to Bangladesh by 2 wickets. Bangladesh Under-19 won the rain curtain match under the Duckworth-Lewis method. With his hand on heart, England's World Cup hero Ben Stokes says he never asked the umpires to cancel the 4 runs of an overthrow during the epic World Cup final against New Zealand. The incident happened during the last over of England's run chase against New Zealand. Shabana Azmi is all set to join Swara Bhaskar and Divya Datta in Sheet Kurma, which is to narrate the story of LGBT community and their struggles. Sanjay Dutt unveiled the teaser of his first home production, Prasthanam, in which he is playing the role of a politician. The teaser shows Ali Fazal and Manisha Koirala in strong roles with glimpses of Jackie Shroff and Amira Dastoor. Kangana Ranaut and Rajkumar Rao star of Judgmental Hai Kya is performing remarkably well. The film raked in 19 crore rupees during the weekend. Flora Borsi, a Hungarian digital artist, has alleged that one of the new posters of Judgmental Hai Kya has been plagiarized. She alleged that they have copied her work from the poster of the movie without her permission. Maharashtra government has decided to exempt Hrithik Roshan's star Super 30 from the state GST. The movie has already been made tax-free in Bihar, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat and Delhi. The teaser of song Enni Soni from the movie Saho is out and the full song will be released on the 2nd of August. Sung by Guru Randhawa and Tulsi Kumar, the song has been composed and written by Guru Randhawa. Actor Rana Daggubati is set to produce the biopic on celebrated cricketer Muttiah Muralitharan. The film, to be produced under Rana's banner Suresh Productions, features Vijay Sethupathi as the Sri Lankan spin legend. Thala Ajit's upcoming film Nerkonda Parwai, the remake of Bollywood film Pink, is all set to hit the screens on the 8th of August, starring Ajit Kumar, Shraddha Srinath, Abhirami Venkatachalam and Andrea Triang. Actor Govinda has claimed that he was offered a part in James Cameron's Avatar, though he turned down the role citing unwillingness to apply paint on his body all through 410 days of shooting. Kathleen Dever, Lucas Hedges and John Bertnall are going to feature in Platform, a new anthological series based on character-driven stories around the world. BlacKkKlansman actor Paul Walter Hauser has been roped in to star in Cruella, which features Emma Stone in the title role. The movie is all set to be released on 23rd December next year. Jason Momoa is set to star in the revenge action film Sweet Girl. The actor will play the role of a grieving husband who vows to bring justice to the perpetrators of his wife's death. Canadian musician David Foster's documentary titled David Foster Off the Record is all set to premiere at the 2019 Toronto Film Festival. Indian actor Pallavi Sharda has boarded the cast of live-action film adaptation of classic cartoon series Tom and Jerry. Ethiopia planted 350 million trees in one day to combat climate change and desertification. The initiative can break the world record for the number of trees planted in a single day. Ethiopia is using the campaign as a means of reclaiming its land and the productivity that comes with it. Hundreds of volunteers helped rescue 5 whales stranded on a Florida beach. The Coast Guard and Clearwater Marine Aquarium led the rescue efforts. 3 of the whales were loaded into boats to be released back into the Gulf of Mexico. Fluorescent pink seesaws were fitted on a frontier fence along the US-Mexico border to symbolically bridge the divide and encourage both the children and adults to play. They were installed as a recognition of the actions that happen in one side and have a direct impact on the other. Amateur divers plunged into a part of history as they jumped from Old Bridge in the Bosnian city of Mostar as part of a competition celebrating the Ottoman landmark. The diving competition is an annual party that celebrates the bridge's post-war reconstruction. A tiny bug, possibly a fly, had the best seat in the House at an event at Jamestown, Virginia, where the US President Donald Trump delivered a speech to commemorate the 400th anniversary of the first meeting of the Virginia State Legislature. The cameras got a close shot of the tiny creature clinging to the president's hair as he started his speech. The commuters on board a ferry crossing Lake Constance in Switzerland witnessed a waterspout over the water. This is the second time a waterspout was witnessed. Paleontologists from China and the US have found a Tyrannosaurus, a giant dinosaur footprint fossil in East China's Jiangxi province, marking the first discovery of Tyrannosaurus in China. Tyrannosaurus is a term coined to describe fossilized footprints that may have been left by Tyrannosaurid. A road cable-stayed bridge with the world's largest and heaviest span completed its closure after being rotated into position in the Baoding city, North China's Hebei province, further facilitating the transport construction in the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thanks for being with us.